Hey,
Hello.
evening. Good evening.
Good evening to you as well.
Happy Hump Day.
Indeed. I'm so happy tomorrow's Thursday.
One of the reasons I picked Wednesdays. I'm kidding. No.
You know what? It's a good reason.
So how are you doing?
Not bad. Definitely feeling a lot better than I was last week. So, I mean,
yes. As people that are watching, if you don't know, my wonderful friend here, Nathan Elwell, was a little sick last week, and we were catching up behind before I went on, and that's where he's feeling better. So thank God he's feeling better.
Yeah, I hate being sick.
So let's get into it because I know we have quite a bit to talk about. For anybody out there in Paranormal Brew land, just that don't know you or aren't aware of the cool stuff you do, can you just maybe start at the beginning, like when you got into this, how you got into it, and where you got to doing what you do that I love watching?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was kind of haunted by something when I was younger, and I'm not exactly sure what it was. So I'm Wiccan, and many years ago, when I first started practicing, I actually went out of my way to make a voodoo doll for someone that I thought had wronged me. And I don't know if perhaps I did something wrong, but in Wicca, they have this thing called the rule of return, where anything that you do comes back on you tenfold if you mean negative energy towards it. And well, I obviously meant negative energy towards it. I don't know whatever happened to the doll. I never found it, to be honest. I sat it on my shelf one night and I never saw it again. But this whole thing started about a week and a half, 2 weeks after I built that doll. We had a pit bull named Stormy who used to sleep in my room. She slept on my bed, and she got pretty old. I think she was 17 maybe when she died, which is old for a pit bull.
Yeah.
She was sleeping on my bed. She was getting to the point where she couldn't control her bodily functions anymore, and she was going to the bathroom on my bed.
Oh, baby.
And so came home from work, and I looked at her and said, "You got to go out there, honey. You can't sleep in here." Mind you, I was living at my parents' house at this time. I was 16. I had working my first job. And I kicked her out of the room. And I remember looking out of the hallway, and she looked backwards like that. Like she was waiting for me to invite her back. And I was like, yeah, I can't. And my father woke me up the next morning to inform me that she had crawled underneath the dining room table and died.
Oh.
So obviously I felt, partially responsible for that. I mean, it feels bad.
My God, I can only imagine. I would feel guilty for the rest of my life. I would, to be honest with you. This is how I am. I mean, like, yeah. I totally would. So I'm sorry that happened. That's terrible.
It's one of the few animals that I actually had like a affection for. I'm not a very affectionate person, I guess you could say. So that one, and my kitty cat Acorn. She's my emotional support kitty. I love my Acorns. Mm-hmm. And but everything started about 2 days after that. And that's where it gets really weird, because I don't know if the dog ties into this or not. And this is where it gets strange. I'm OCD about doors. Like, if I'm at home, I want all the doors shut. I don't like doors being open. Never have. For some reason, it's like a weird thing of mine. And so I got to the point where I actually put a latch on my closet door, because my old closet door at my parents' house were those kind of like sliding French doors that open outwards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you push on them, they're open. So I put a latch on them to keep them shut. I went to bed, and I felt something pulling on my blankets, and not thinking about it. It's only been, maybe a week or two since she passed. Like I said, I was like, Stormy, you got to quit pulling on the blankets, honey. And I pulled the blankets on, and then felt the tugging again. Pulled the blankets back up, and it didn't do it anymore. Next night, I go to sleep. Same thing happens. Just tugging on the blankets at the foot. And this time I was getting annoyed because I was extremely tired. I think actually I might have been in school and had football practice that day, and then I went to work and came home, and I was extremely tired, and I kicked my foot back and I hit something solid, and I was like, and I rolled over. It's like, Stormy, I'm sorry, and then it dawned on me, Stormy's not in the room.
Right.
So what did I just kick? And then I hear something, and realistically, could have been my mind playing tricks. Yes, obviously, it's plausible because I was extremely tired, but I swore I heard something say my name. Now, what got me was when I finally got, I guess you could say, the gall to fully roll over and turn the light on. My closet door that I know for a fact I had latched shut was wide open.
Wow.
And weird since then. For the next probably 3 weeks, I had constant nightmares of me dying in various ways,
Mm.
uh, which was really strange.
Now,
Then,
do you know how sometimes I didn't mean to cut you off, but I do need to cut you off. I'm sorry. Because I don't want to forget this thought process. But you know how sometimes we will sometimes there's a theory out there, or there is a theory out there that um depression and sadness and stuff like that kind of aid in those types of hauntings or types of visits and stuff like that in that type of energy that you're getting. You know what I mean? So
yep,
do you think that maybe the loss of her, maybe and what you were going through with that, with the guilt and everything like that, you think that kind of added to what was going on in the house?
it very possibly. I'm not one to really deal with grief, to be honest. Like, I kind of push it to the side and ignore it. It doesn't make it go away, but that's just how I cope with it. And after that whole thing, having nightmares, right? Tapping on my window started. 3 o'clock to 3:15 every day for 4 months solid. There was tapping on my windows. Never could explain it. I'd open up the blinds, no one would be there. My cousins thought I was nuts, so I was like, "All right, y'all come on down and stay the night." They came down, they stayed the night. They'd hear the tapping on the window, they'd open the blinds, no one was there. And they were like, "Oh, well, maybe somebody tapped on it and ran." I was like, "All right, go ahead and open the window." So they open the window and they look, nothing. So weirdly, it stopped for about, I think, a year almost. And then I ended up getting married very young. I think I was 19 when I got married. And got married very young. Me and my ex-wife, we moved into a trailer that my brother had previously owned. And he told me that he felt really uncomfortable in the bathroom. And I was like, well, it's a bathroom. They're not, I guess you want to feel comfortable in there. But he said it was the feeling of being watched. So, and he wasn't lying. Whenever you took a shower in that room, you would literally want to leave the shower curtain cracked because you felt like you were being watched. It was really strange. So at this point in time, I was no longer in school and I was working night shifts. I would go in at 6 p.m., get off sometime between 2 and 4 a.m. I would come home and the light would be on in the kitchen from time to time, and I'd see people walking around. I would think my ex-wife was up. I'd go inside and no one would be awake.
Hmm.
So seeing shadows here, and it was really strange. And I went to go to sleep one night, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but or any of the listeners out there, but sleep paralysis is one of the most terrifying things that you'll ever experience.
I have not, but everybody that I know that talks about it says that same exact thing, how terrifying it is.
It is, and I can tell you, I remember that when I laid down and went to sleep that night, when I woke up, there was a pressure here and here, like I was being choked. I could not move, and it seemed, hey Betsy, and it seemed like, I swear it was an hour, but let's be honest, in that time frame, it was probably 10 or 15 seconds. I
Yeah.
rolled, I sat up once I was finally able to shake it off, and there was a black silhouette standing at the foot of our bed that actually drifted backwards into the hallway. Now, the weird thing is typically when you have these kinds of fluctuations of electricity, your lights dim. This case, it was opposite. When it went into the hallway, the light got extremely bright and actually broke. And I never saw it. I never saw it again after that.
Wow. And all of this started after you did this, excuse me, voodoo doll thing, right?
Yeah, literally, it's like almost like a chain of events that started directly after. So, is it related to that? Maybe. Is it not related to that? And it's just a form of coincidence? Plausibly. Because, the dog died soon after. So maybe I'm just reading too much into making the doll. And it could have been just not dealing with the grief from the dog passing.
Right, right. Yeah. It just sounds like it was just a mixing pot of events that, you know what I mean? But before that, when you like before, I know you say you're Wiccan, but before that, was the paranormal of any interest to you, or did? Oh, okay, okay,
So even in middle school, I would check out paranormal books. I did a sixth grade book report on Area 51 and UFOs. It was my sixth grade book report, and I've always had an interest in the paranormal. One of the first books I ever read was the 13 Alabama Ghost and Jeffrey by Catherine Tucker Wyndham. I'm not sure if anyone knows who that is or not, but she has a book series. It's called The 13 Ghost and Jeffrey, where she goes to various states throughout the South. And one of the first books I had ever checked out from the library. I have always had an interest in it, but it wasn't until these events that I decided to look further and explore it more.
okay. And what was the like? Because if that was me and I never had anything like that happen, I would kind of be like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with the paranormal stuff, right? Because right away it's like this bad experience. Like, luckily, I had a good experience my first experience. You know what I mean? So,
And this is
but,
where the paranormal gets funky like that, because some
yeah,
people, you experience something like this and it pushes them away. Others, it just makes them intrigued.
right.
And that's kind of like what I had. I had the intrigue. I was like, well, what happened? Why did it happen? Why
Yeah,
did it happen to me? How can I prevent it from happening again? And what was it?
right,
So
right.
then I started researching and buying books. And one of my favorite authors is Dr. Hans Halser, one of my favorites. And yeah, just research, research, research.
Yeah. So it's safe to say that you are a believer.
My content may speak otherwise, but yes.
But I was going to say you are a believer, right?
Yeah.
But what I love about you is that you are also a realist. Like, you're a skeptic. You're a believer, but you have the skeptic. Like, so let's move into that. So you're an investigator doing your thing, and then you decided you're gonna just do the video. So tell everybody about your videos.
So I do videos on the TikTok platform where I go through and I find these paranormal videos that people post on there, and or they're sent to me or shared to me. I get them shared and sent to me every day. And I look for logical ways that I can break these down, not necessarily to explain them away, but to offer possible rational explanations as to what's going on. Sometimes people are on there purposely faking things, and other times people are legitimately thinking that they caught something, but they really didn't. They just don't know exactly what they're looking for.
Right. And there's the difference. Like, a lot of people call that debunking, but it isn't. You
No,
know, I mean, your videos mostly are innocent people believing that, okay, yeah, I caught something, not people faking things. When you are trying to expose people, that's called debunking. And because they're being frauds. But when you're trying to not trying, if you can disprove, or this and or show people where there could be natural causes because they mistakenly are, you know, I've done it, where you think you get a picture, or you think you get
we
this,
all
Yeah. I mean, and then you get somebody look at it and go, oh, you know what? This is what this looks like to me. And then all of a sudden you see the picture in a whole different way. And you're like, you're right. All right, let me throw this one out, which is
right.
awesome. It's okay that's what people don't understand. It's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, there absolutely is. And
It's okay to
there's
be wrong.
I think there's only two or three channels on the platform that I have personally set out to debunk, because I think that they just try to take full advantage of the paranormal as, is popular right now.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. And I think these people push it to an extreme. I'm not going to call them out by name here because that's not my style. I call them out on my TikTok platform. That's how I do things. And but you're right. A majority of the people, I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm not trying to sit there and tell everyone that everything is fake, because that's not the case. I mean, I can't explain everything, but I can tell you that if I see a video that I think I can explain, I'm going to.
Right. And most of your videos, you do that, right? And at the end of the video, what I like is you just say, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, this is my opinion, and this is why I think this way. This is why. And the videos aren't long. They're usually what, 2 minutes, maybe?
I actually, I think I have maybe 4 or 5 to go over a minute. I try to keep them under a minute.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that it's not easy to do. Like, that's a lot of information to squeeze into a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're entertaining too. I mean, you add a lot of different graphics going on while you're talking and this and that. So it's put together very well. I
You know
like watching them.
what's funny? That's what a lot of people hate about the videos.
Not me. I like it. I think it adds, it keeps you
Unique.
like, yeah, it is. I like it. Don't stop doing it.
Oh, I don't have any plans on it. I mean, I have people out there all the time. I would love your videos more if you don't use the filters. But you know what? Then don't watch it. I don't know what to tell
I
you.
think it's great. There was an opportunity for me to do Roku, the paid version, and when I saw the contract, and it's like your guests can't drink, they can't move, they can't, fidget in their chairs, they can't do, and I'm like, nope.
That's
I mean, it was like a long list of like, and I'm like, what? I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like, I'm
you
not doing this.
basically want them to sit there and be zombies.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't do this. It would change everything that I've ever why I started the show. Like it's off the cuff, it's relaxed. I don't want people to feel like, I'm like boom, 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 boom. Like it's a
Right.
combo, right?
Drinking
And
a lot of water. I'm still dealing with the throat thing.
yeah. See, what if I said to you can't drink water? Right? It would change my whole thing. It would change my show
I
totally.
mean, I wouldn't drink the water, but
No,
I
I know, but I'm just saying, like it's ridiculous,
no,
right?
that's absolutely ridiculous.
So yeah, so I don't agree. I will never support change. Like if it works for you and you love it, then just keep doing it.
Yeah, and that's basically how it is. It's like I'm not going to name the show, but I got interviewed for a paranormal investigation show like probably 2 years ago, and it's like the third one I've been interviewed for. And when they interviewed me, this specific one, what bothered me was one of the questions during the interview was, would I be willing to accentuate my experiences for television?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not interested. And they were like, yeah, but we would be really interested in having you on the show. Well, if I have to fake it, I'm not interested.
Yeah, why? I mean, like that's what people don't understand when they do that stuff is like, you know, there's you're gonna people are gonna eventually know that you're like to me that's fraud. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like integrity to me is number one.
yeah, and the way I see it, if I would have taken that, which at this time I was not doing my TikTok platform videos, but if I had taken that job and did what they asked me to do, I mean, realistically, I'm no better than the people that I'm breaking videos down for.
Absolutely. I long time ago, like 2013 maybe, um, there was 10 of us that were going to be on a show, and they came out, the network came out, it was Travel Channel. They came out, and it was going to be based around the Ghost Hunter store where there's like this equipment and stuff and people work there, but
Yeah,
they legit wanted me to because my boyfriend at the time was also in our group and he was there, so they were going to have us on there, and they wanted me to be they're like, look, how about we have a scenario where we make people think like you're cheating on him, so like they wanted like to create this drama within the store also with the paranormal stuff and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. My whole family will be watching this and my friends, and like I don't want people thinking I'm you get the whole world, you're gonna get everybody to hate me.
the paranormal has enough drama right now as it is.
And that was back in 2013.
That's
Like,
insane.
yeah,
Like, why would you do that?
I wouldn't.
No, no, I'm saying
Oh
why.
yeah, yeah. I was like, no. I mean, the
Oh,
show never got picked up anyway, but like,
that makes no sense.
yeah, I was out after that. I was like, wow. I was like, really? Like, well, we have to create we have to have like a story. And I'm like, so you're trying to make like a soap opera?
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Like,
like like Pawn Stars with ghost hunting.
yeah, like you're trying to make a soap opera. And I'm not about it, especially using me as the person to be. And it's, like if that happened, right? You brought me on. I wouldn't even be able to tell you that it's not true because I
Right,
would have to keep living up with that whole thing.
right. You probably would have had to sign an NDA, all this other good.
Right. And it's like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. And I think a lot of mainstream television channels, they overlook the fact that if the content itself is good, people will watch.
Yeah.
You don't have to accentuate anything. You don't have to fake anything. If people really enjoy your content, they will watch.
Yeah. Bill brings up, if the location is truly haunted, why fake it? The location will prove itself. Absolutely.
Agreed.
It's funny he brings up because there's more and more. Not now. It's not just you have to worry about investigators faking stuff. I don't even like to call them investigators because they
Owners,
don't. The what?
owners.
Owners. Yep. Now it's locations, and that's
Yep.
and you know it's like it's getting harder and harder to trust who you work with and where you go.
You're absolutely right. It is, especially with all these people now. Charging massive amounts of money to go and stay 5 or 6 hours in a place. I'm sorry, I don't have the cash to shell out $700 to come and stay at your location for a night.
Yeah.
It's insane the amount of money people charge.
It really is, and it's starting to just go across the board. Like with everything, with the pop up mediums and psychics, and everybody's a psychic medium now, and you know what I'm saying. Like it just is starting to happen all across the board. So it's like,
I think tomorrow I'll be a psychic.
I said, how are these people getting so much attention when it's just their word? There's nothing to prove anything.
Right, and
There's
it's
no
crazy how it works.
Yeah. And then, you got legit people that are really out there, like really trying to, make a difference in the field and do it the right way and this and that. Then, you know, it's like they just get over, like, you don't see that research. You don't see those investigators. You don't see those mediums that are like really doing good for the community.
100% legit. I agree. It's a lot of the littler people that never get noticed that are out there doing, some of the best work that I've seen.
Right.
And I'm doing this for a little bit over 16 years now. So it's not like, I haven't seen a lot. And, it's crazy to me that all of these people, they get overlooked. It's like, when you go to a lot of these Paracon events, right? People try to book the biggest names, the biggest names, the biggest names. Why not book some of the smaller names that may be able to give you more, legit stories, more heartfelt stories, because they actually want to be there. The big name people are there trying to collect a paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get it, like working the events, like I've helped my friends out with these events and everything. I understand, because, it does bring the customers. It does
It
bring the
does.
people, and you do have to pay them, and because that's just the way things are. I mean, that's what they do for a living.
Yep,
It puts the bread on the table.
it does.
And can they every once in a while maybe help out a charity event, which they do? You know what I mean? They do, but they can't do that every single time, right?
Right.
So I
I'm,
get.
I'm saying maybe cut down on maybe one or two of the more popular people
Yeah,
that
no,
get
no, no.
paid
I agree with you. I think
for.
everybody. Yeah,
Yeah, and bring in two teams that you know what, you may have noticed that are doing great things that
absolutely.
other people may not know of, but you know what, you're going to help them get that exposure. And if they get that exposure, the next time they come to your event, you're going to draw their customers back if they enjoyed it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and so I mean, like I get that part, but like I agree with you. I feel like, there's got to be more. I mean, you know, I'm particular of who I have on my show. There be some doozies that get through, absolutely.
It
You know what I
happens.
mean? But I research people. I watch their stuff. I make sure, to me, unless they're coming from somebody that I 100% trust, you know what I mean, and they know what kind of guests I like to have on, and they know that, then I won't do much. Or if we know them, like next week I have Steve Gonzalez coming on,
Nice. Nice.
from Ghost Hunters, right? Like,
Yep.
no, I don't have to research him. I know him. You know what I mean? Like he's, I don't research. I didn't have to research you. I know you. I've already watched your stuff. You know what I mean?
That hurts my feelings that you didn't go and internet stalk me.
I watch your videos. I love your videos.
I guess.
But like, um, but yeah. So I got distracted there for a second.
You're good. You're good.
But yeah. So I appreciate. Speaking of those videos, that's why I appreciate you, because there's not people out there doing that. You know what I mean? And um, you do it respectfully.
To me, like I said earlier, there's enough drama in the paranormal as there is. I'm not here to make waves. I'm not here to cause drama with nobody. I'm just here calling things like I see it and trying to offer different explanations for things that people might deem as paranormal that really aren't.
Right, right. And that's okay. You can
Yeah.
still be a believer, but then also because there's a lot of stuff. I help run a page called Gettysburg Ghosts or Ghosts in Gettysburg or
Oh
something.
yes, yep.
And you should see the
Gettysburg,
stuff.
Gettysburg's on my bucket list. I'm hoping to get there this year.
I'm telling you, I will meet you out there.
I'm hoping to get there this year.
But like, um, there's stuff that comes on, and people put these, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, come on, but you got to be nice about it, right? Because not everybody is a seasoned investigator, and not
You're,
everybody is, there are people that went to Gettysburg, they know it's haunted, or they people, you go there and there's paranormal stuff all over the place in Gettysburg,
oh
right?
yeah,
There's ghost tours, there's this, there's that, and there's, ghosts of Getty books everywhere about it.
it's like going to Salem.
Yeah, like you go there, you just know that's there too, right? So when
Yep.
people come home and they can be on family vacation, they're looking through their books like, oh, I think I see a soldier in them. You know what I mean? And you're like, no, that's not a soldier. But you gotta be nice about it, right?
You do, and sometimes it's hard,
Yes.
especially when they bring something to you that is obviously to you obvious. To
Yeah.
them, it's not. But you gotta kind of stop yourself for a second and say, okay, I really can't sit here and say, hey, look here, nope, calm down.
Right.
This is what you're seeing, and this is why.
So on the page recently, there was a guy who submitted a picture from Gettysburg, and he said, "Look at the," and looked like a soldier up on top of Devil's Den. And I'm looking at it, I go, I thought that it was this one monument that's up there that I have mistaken for something up there, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I wrote about me and him. We went back and forth. I said, look, I suggest you go out there, maybe take some pictures. I said, I think it's this monument, and I shared a picture from the internet, where you can see how it looks similar, but the angle was different, right, from the picture that I shared from his picture. And I tried to take that into consideration. And Nathan, if I did not swear to myself that I was right, I even wrote it on there. I'm like, I know that land with my eyes closed. I'm not going to argue with you, right? And he wasn't even being right. I thought because I go, it looks exactly the same. It's just a different angle. Well,
Right.
he messaged me and he goes, I took your advice. He wasn't mad, even though I got kind of snippy a little bit because he was like trying to say, no, it's not there. And then I started to think he was trying to get one over on everybody by saying, well, I took a picture and this is, I go, that's the other side of that. Like it's the wrong angle, right?
Right.
Anyway, he messages me and he goes, I took your advice. I went out there and I took all these pictures and this and that. He goes, I did debunk the one thing. He's like, because he shared another picture. He goes, I did it. The thing, I see what it is. It's not what I thought it was. He's like, so thank you for telling me to do this. He's like, but this other one, and he showed me a different angle. And I'm like, wow, it can't be that monument from the angle. So I went back on the Facebook page and I said, he had shared stuff with me, and I take back my original assessment, because the monument, the way when he took this different picture, I was like, oh, it's way over here. It's not over here. You know what I mean? So it was like the angle to me was a little bit different, although it still doesn't make sense that it looked exactly the same when I shared that. I'll have to send them to you.
Yeah, please do, because that doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, but from the angle when he took that picture, the monument, I thought it doesn't look like. But anyways, it was nice to have somebody actually follow through with like going back out there. Like then I was like, okay, this dude's really trying to figure out if what he caught was legit.
Yeah, because I don't know how many people out there will post their evidence online asking for reviews, not expecting the onslaught that's about to come.
Right.
Because people in the paranormal lately have just been something else, is the way I want to word it. Not trying to disrespect anybody. It's just there's a way to answer questions and there's a way to respond to a post and do it tactfully and tastefully. You don't have to sit there and berate someone, especially if it's someone who's new to the field. And that is one thing that will set me off quick. The people who are new, we're supposed to take them under our wing. We're supposed to teach them these things. We're not supposed to call them idiots or berate them because they post a picture of something that they think is paranormal that obviously isn't to us, but it may look it to them.
Right. And that's the thing, people, I never forget where I came from. There was a point in time when I first started out, I thought everything was paranormal. Everything. Yep. There was not, everything was paranormal. If I was ghost hunting, it's paranormal. And sometimes, you know what I mean? So there was a time where I was like that. I mean, like hours of pictures. I thought I had an apparition in every fucking photo I've ever had. You know what I mean? And when I was like, so I get it. I know, so that's why I try to, when I answer, I try to be professional and and I give them a little bit of credit, like, oh, I can see what you're saying. I understand where you got this from, but you know what I mean? And then like,
Right. And
you know,
I do pretty much refrain from posting my evidence online just as like a habit, I guess you could say. I do have one picture in particular that I've never been able to fully explain. I mean, do I think it's explainable? Very possible, but I know the history behind the location, and given what's in the picture, I find the history and the picture too much of a coincidental look-alike to be anything other than what I think it is, which that's something I'm not going to tell you what I think it is. I just rather send it to you and get your opinion. But this same exact house was actually one of the first investigations that I ever did. And I was with my co-founder at the time. I ended up having to remove him because I caught him falsifying EVPs. He was whispering into the record.
oh my gosh.
And I caught him purposely doing this. And so I ended up removing him from the team. And so we're in this house though. We have three things: 35 millimeter camera, voice recorder, flashlight. Now the 35 millimeter camera is one of the older style ones that had like the 15-second recharge on the light. So we're in the very back room, and the back door is boarded up. You can't get into it. You can only enter from the front, which is the furthest exit from this room. I asked if there's anybody there. Could you give us a sign of your presence? We hear this loud step and a dragging noise come from upstairs. Room goes dark. I don't see anything. He has the flashlight, and he ran. So having to find my way out of this creepy abandoned house.
Oh goodness.
With a flash, take a few steps, wait 15 seconds.
Oh wow.
Flash, take a few steps, wait 15
seconds. Wow.
I get out of the back door and he's standing there with the flashlight. He's like, dude, did you hear that? Well, no shit, I heard that.
Yeah. I wouldn't even have thought to take a picture and use the flash from my camera. I wouldn't even have thought to do that.
So that was the funny thing, though. It was because during that process, trying to find my way out of the house, that I caught the specific photo.
Oh, well, that's good.
So that's why I told that story, because it kind of ties into.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So I'll give you the whole backstory on the house. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you now because I want to get your opinion first, and then I'll tell you the backstory.
Yeah.
But
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. I thought you were still going to say. So do you work with a team now, or do you just kind of do your own thing?
I have two teams.
Okay. I
have the Southeastern Ghost Research Association out of Alabama, where I'm actually from. My best friend currently runs that team down south. They refer all cases through me, of course, and because you got to be picky, you got to be choosy, because I take a lot of residential stuff, and so I have to really be picky about the cases that we take, and I'm very picky about the people that are on my team, because I don't want them to stir up anything and the clients have to deal with it after we're gone.
Yeah.
So I have that team, and I have the Newport Paranormal Society here in New Hampshire.
Oh, okay, awesome. That's right. I remember hearing about Newport.
Yeah, and I'm actually working on putting an event together here at the Opera House. So hopefully that'll go on here within the next year or so.
Wow, that's awesome. I just want to also give a shout out. I hope she's still watching. I always have to say hi to her because it's probably like 1:00 in the morning right now, where she's in Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
So she watches the show, Ajing. Thank you so much for watching, honey. I love you. She's so faithful. I love it.
That's awesome. It's people like that make doing stuff like this work.
Absolutely. I every once in a while I get somebody that will share, like if I see them at the events, or I talk, or they message me and stuff, and or on Paranormal Brew, I always get like these comments afterwards on YouTube where people are like, "Wow, I learned something from this. Thank you so much." And I'm like, "That's it. That's all I want. I want people to learn or to take something from each show, and be able to use it, or feel like, no, they're not, if somebody's having an issue with something, no, they're not alone, or how to reach out to somebody if they need help, or whatever the case may be,
Right. And that's why we do this. Like, I got asked a few months back about a case, and they were like, well, how much are you going to charge me to come in and do this? I was like, I'm not going to charge you anything.
Isn't that crazy? People do that.
And they were like, well, why wouldn't you charge me anything? I said, because I do this to help you and for my own experiences. I said, I look at it this way. If you're paying me to do a job and I come back to you with nothing that I failed at my job, you paying me is going to force me to find something.
Oh, yeah, I know. I don't get it. There was a guy that went, and that's why I'm particular about prayers to a Jing. She said they had a couple of
Mm,
volcanoes that erupted.
well, that's rough.
Um,
Thoughts, thoughts for sure.
yeah, I'll message her after. Um, Now, damn it, I forget what I was going to say.
Oh, so I'll give you the origin story of how the videos got started.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please.
That's a little bit interesting, and I actually do go over that. I wrote a book that's hopefully going to be published this year too, so that should hopefully be out this year. Uh,
Awesome.
so I was sitting downstairs with my daughter watching the famous show Paranormal Caught on Camera, and we're sitting there, we're watching this episode that has to do with Dead Children's Playground in Huntsville, Alabama, a place that I have personally been. I've personally investigated, and I'm sitting and I'm watching this video, the swing moving, and I'm like, yeah, everything that they're saying in the show is wrong. And my daughter was like, well, what do you mean? I got up there and I paused it and I ran it back, filmed it with my phone, and then I took it through and I showed her frame by frame what I was trying to look at. And she was like, why don't you do that stuff for TikTok? I was like, never thought about it. She's like, I think people would love it. You should start doing that on TikTok. And that's kind of how I got started.
That's awesome. That's awesome though that you and then you see this thing and you're like, yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff that I mean, I like the show. I do like Paranormal Caught on Camera.
I'm surprised Travel Channel hasn't blocked me yet. Because I tagged them in every single one of the videos that I do that involve Paranormal Caught on Camera. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there is. And I'm surprised because some of the people that go on there, I kind of like, I know them and I'm like,
Like
come on.
Brian, he's an awesome guy. Like,
Yeah. But like, if like, come on, we all know it's not. So why would you humor it? You know what I mean? Again, ratings, I get it, but
it's
still.
got to be. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. That's where I was going with that. Now I remember. That's why it's important to me to have people on that, as far as I know, and I do my research, are legit people because I don't want somebody watching and knowing that I do my due diligence, to bring guests on. And then let's say you come on here and you're like, yeah, I'm an investigator and, and this and that. And then you do them dirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then they come back at me and go, I got this information from your show because you're promoting them or you're doing that, and I don't want that responsibility. And I
No,
definitely don't want to promote anybody that's a pice of shit.
no, and I don't blame you. And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it took you quite a while to ask me to come on. So I know you were researching.
Yeah, I was watching video, which I love your videos. I do.
I appreciate it. I'm glad people enjoy them. That's the whole. I mean, I don't make money on TikTok. I don't make money on YouTube. Nothing like that. I do them because I enjoy them.
Yeah, for sure. Mark, Shoop Shorter Mark. Hi, Mark.
I've ever investigated Sloss Furnace? I have.
Oh.
One of my favorite places. As a matter of fact, I do not believe they allow private or public investigations now. So this was back, and I want to say 2009-ish. Like it was a while ago. But I absolutely love the location. A little bit of a pain in the butt to get to if you don't know your way around Birmingham. Which at that time I didn't. I took about 4 or 5 different wrong turns, but absolutely amazing place. It's I think the second largest standing vertical blast furnace in the world. It might be just the United States, but I'm pretty sure it's the world. But they had an average death of 1 person a day during their time of operation, and they had a slogan at one point that was if you kill a person, we'll hire another one. You kill a mule, you have to buy another one. So don't kill a mule because they cost $5.
Right.
And that's just how they worked things back then at that particular place. OSHA wasn't around, and a lot of violent deaths. Sloss Furnaces is probably in my top 5 favorite locations I've ever been.
That's awesome. I Ghost Hunters was there, right?
Ghost Hunters was there.
Yeah.
And Ghost Adventures went there as well in like season 3.
Oh, okay. I feel like I watched it on Ghost Hunters, I think. They were there.
Ghost Hunters is one of the first that went there.
So when you go on investigations, do you use equipment? Do you like to?
I do. I'm more of an old school kind of guy though. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the techie stuff because on my YouTube channel, I actually download and test paranormal applications. That's what I do for my YouTube channel, and that's actually what my book is on. Is my experiences downloading and testing these paranormal applications, trying to figure out which ones work and which ones don't. Which a lot of them don't. For the record, you find a diamond in the rough every now and then. But yeah, I got all kinds of new equipment that I actually got this year. I've got a Sentry Motion box, which is pretty cool. This actually came from Darian, or Darren Bus, so that's going to be pretty cool. Just got a new EMF detector and some cat balls. Actually, I got that for Christmas. Just got a new crystal REM pod.
Wow.
So I've got a lot of stuff going on here that's going to be kind of like a new tech for me, because I'm like the old school. I go into a place with a notebook, a voice recorder, some video cameras, and that's always kind of like how I've been.
Yeah.
And it always worked for me. But there comes a time you got to kind of step out of your comfort zone and you try something new. One of the things that I've experimented with for several years, and I've yet to catch anything really substantial with it, but I think that when I do, it's going to be something monumental, is I experiment with strobe light filming. It's very difficult to get the camera to focus on a strobe light. What you have to do is take 3 different strobe lights from 3 different directions at 3 different speeds, so it almost looks like it's a constant light and your camera won't lose focus. But when you walk through it, you're still walking, and it still gives you the motion of walking through one strobe light at a very fast speed. So my thought here and my theory is, if it slows down people when they're walking through it, if a ghost has any form of substance, then why would it not do the same thing to them?
Interesting. You have video of it?
I do have video of testing the strobe light filming. Yes.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that? How did you come? Did you just know like that's what happens with the lights?
No. So that took many, many, many hours of trying to get it right. I had a lot of issues getting the cameras to stay in focus. That's the main thing, is because, cameras, when they hit that kind of like, when you hit a dark to light spot, you get the autofocus thing going on. And what you got to kind of do is you got to set your camera in manual focus, and you have to set it to a extent where it's a little slightly blurry, but it's not so blurry that you still can't clearly see the picture. Because let's face it, if you have it too blurry, people are going to say, oh, that's just a person walking through frame.
Right.
So you have to keep the clarity, but you also don't want the autofocus messing everything up. So the manual focus is the way to go. And then 3 different strobe lights from 3 different directions, and it actually gives you a decently clear picture.
Do you find that is harder to use in some locations than others?
Yeah, because you got to have enough room to set it out.
Yeah.
If like a room like this that I'm sitting in right now, I would never try it. It's not big enough. The camera would never keep focus. But in a bigger location, a bigger room, yeah, it works. It works decently. Like I said, I've never caught anything substantial with it, but it's still an interesting theory to try. And I don't even know how the idea popped into my head, to be honest. I was sitting, I think it might have been actually a Halloween night. I might have been drinking. And
Hence Paranormal Brew. I'm like, we have the best combos when we're either drinking beer, we're just sitting around talking.
literally may have been drinking that night, because I used to do a haunted walkthrough. Like, I build my own Halloween decorations a lot of times. I build them from scratch.
Yeah.
And I had put on some strobe lights, and I remember walking through them and then watching someone else walk through it. I'm like, I'm curious. So I took another one and stuck it up in a tree, and I realized that when they were walking through, they had the same motion, but you could see them more clearly. And I was like, I'm curious if I could get a camera to keep focus well. And like I said, several hours of trying to get this to work right, because I was trying to do it with the autofocus. Once I turned the autofocus off and I figured out the right setting, I mean, it's decently clear. It's clear enough that you could tell that if there was a person walking through the frame, it's a person.
And it will give you the strobe light effect, though, when you have all 3 of them like that?
Not really, because you have them on 3 different speeds. So it literally almost looks like one solid light.
Right.
But since they're technically still strobing as they walk through, and they hit the strobes from the different directions, it slows them down coming from the direction that the strobe is in.
Right. Because I'm just wondering, like some people, because I was going to say out with the Estes and with the Elwell method, right? Right? Have people start doing the Elwell method.
I mean, I think, like I said, if once I catch something with it, I think it'd be something that's really monumental. But I've not yet caught anything with it. I don't know if I'm just not using it in the right locations, or if I've just not experimented with it enough to get it dialed into where I can actually capture something. But then again, let's face it, the paranormal, it acts when it wants to.
Yeah, and who knows, right? I mean, we can theorize and hypotenuse and all, pies and this and that and science and do all this, but are we
It's
really
all,
ever going to find out?
it's all theories.
Like 100%, you know what I mean? Like, and then that's the thing. Like, yeah, I hope so, but those hardcore skeptics, that's why I'm not in this to prove it to anybody. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I believe, but
Yeah.
I'm like you. I'm a healthy skeptic. I'm a believer, but
Some
I'm
would say I'm more than a healthy skeptic,
yeah,
but that's okay. I mean, I've had people accuse me of not believing at all. I've had, you watch my content, you understand why.
yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's an interesting theory to think that if a ghost does have any form of substance to it, that in theory it should react as a human walking through a strobe light. It should react the same way.
Yeah, that's interesting. But I'm wondering, like, if people, if that would, if people have seizures to strobe
Yeah.
lights, I wonder if they can still see it that way. That's why I was asking. I know you had already said that it's a solid light, but I'm wondering if anybody, because I
Okay.
can be in a strobe light.
Yeah, I misunderstood what you were meaning by that question. Now I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah,
You
like
know
I'm
that
wondering. Yeah,
that's I'm curious about that myself now.
yeah, because I feel like I can watch a strobe light and I'm fine. There's something that triggers stuff for people that they'll have a seizure. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, like, if that whole, even though we're seeing this solid light, you know what I mean? If people like that are seeing still the strobe effect, you know what I mean?
So you do slightly see the strobe effect itself in the film. You
Okay,
don't see it when you're actually standing there in person because they're almost in sync. They're almost in unison, like with the way they're flashing at the different speeds.
gotcha.
But you can still see it slightly on the film. Would that be enough to trigger an epileptic seizure? I can't say for certain.
Yeah,
So I would, of course, if I was ever to release any of that video, I would instantly put a disclaimer on it that if you have that, blah blah blah, don't watch,
right.
just to be safe.
Yeah,
Um, some of my YouTube videos, I actually do that because I use filters that make a lot of flashing, and I'll make sure to do that. I'll make sure to put an epileptic warning just in case on some of those videos.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just this smart, really. I mean,
It is. It covers my ass, and
yeah.
I don't know what I can say and what I can't say. Sorry about that,
No,
but
you can say, yeah,
yeah, that covers my ass. And I also make sure that at the beginning of every one of my YouTube videos for my app test, that I make sure that people know that if they download this and test it, it's at their own risk.
yeah.
Because I actually had someone at one point when I first started doing these app tests accuse me of telling them to download this app, and they brought in some form of attachment. I was like, I didn't tell you to download anything. You chose to download it. So now I just go and put that disclaimer on there.
Well, and especially if you're saying that the app isn't legit.
And that
You know
particular
what I'm saying? Like you're saying it's not legit, so why would you tell somebody to download it?
Yep, there's been I think five total that I've told someone or told anyone that I would recommend trying. And one of them is iOvolus, which is put out by Digital Dowsing. Actually, I think that app was actually recently bought by Ghost Stomp. And iOvolus, I love that app. It's a great app. I also like the Ghost Hunters Tools app. So it's a little known app, but I love it. I took that and tested it out at Medfield State Asylum in Medfield, Massachusetts, and I got probably 13 names that I could physically link through historical documentation to people that either worked or died at the asylum.
Wow.
So that to me screams credibility.
Yeah.
I'm not one for the necrophonic. I've tested it. Not a fan, especially not the DR60 sound bank. They could throw that thing out the window.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the DR60 recorder either.
Me
So
neither. I'm not either.
I feel like
It's funny when you first, when I first, I did try that necrophonic app, and I was intrigued
yes,
because when we first did it, I did it with two other people who I respect. They're good investigators, and we were getting intelligent answers. So he's like, "How many fingers do I have up?" And you're 4, and I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "How's this happening? What color shirt is this? Blue." You know what I mean? Like it was
yep,
these intelligent answers. So I was like, this can't be happening. You know, um, I started to use it a little bit more, and it seemed like, and I'm like, all right, this now it's just too good to be true. Like all this, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
And it's the same thing with the DR60. You know what I mean? Like, how is it that, you know, at one moment you can say you can sit and be investigating in a dark room for 4 hours and not get anything, right? But then yet you just whip out this recorder and you're getting an answer to every single question.
Yep, and you can use another voice recorder directly before that for hours, not catch anything. As soon as you pull out the DR60, you're gonna have some form of response. For me, I think it's the internal mechanism. It's the noises at the internal mechanism of the recorder.
Yeah, because they don't. It's not clear words.
They're not very rarely ever clear. Very
Yeah,
rarely.
it's always got that like muffling, scratchy sound or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Almost sounds like someone trying to talk while choking on a hot dog.
Yeah, it's crazy because for me, my biggest thing are EVPs, you know.
Yes.
And once in a while, I'm clairaudient. I can hear the voices. You hear me. You know, you go back on, and I always have a recorder going 24/7 if I'm at a location.
Yep.
I don't shut it off. So you'll hear me say, "I think I just heard," and then when you listen back, you'll hear it. And you hear me say, "I think I heard." You know what I mean? So
So I'm glad
EVP,
I'm glad to hear I'm not the only person that does that. By the way, as soon as I get to a location, I walk through the door, the recorder goes on,
I get
and
my balls busted because people are like, "I can't believe you're going to listen to 7 hours of it," and I'm like,
you know what? I have found that a lot of times you will capture things when you're during your setup, and you're when you're not expecting to capture it.
"Yeah." Yeah, and you know, I make sure that if I have my recorder on, I'm very aware. I tell everybody the recorder's on.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So this way, you know, if there's any, you know, I'm reminding myself to be conscious of the surroundings and conscious of the noises going on and this and that because, you know, even though you're setting up, I still and I know I'm recording, I still want to make sure I'm tagging shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Not everyone's going to. Not everyone's going to remember that. They're going to
right,
walk by and they're going to make a noise. They're not going to tag it. So yeah, you got to kind of keep that mindset of,
absolutely.
this might not be anything, but if you hear a voice that doesn't sound like anybody on your crew that happens to be there, then that merits further looking into.
And that's the thing, you know, with EVPs, and that's the thing. Like you do get an ear for them when you're listening to your audio. So
You do.
usually tell the difference between a human voice and a voice that wasn't there at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
it's different. So you know, which makes me even believe more that this DR60 thing, which is I can never understand what it's saying. And I feel like there's a reason for that because
Yeah.
I can hear EVP so well, like I can pick up on it and I can hear it on the radio. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, I should be able to hear what it's saying if that's really what it is. You know what I
And
mean?
to be honest, even if you listen to the people speaking and asking the questions, even their voice isn't all that clear.
Always scratchy
So
noise, yeah.
yeah, they made this recorder for 1 year, supposedly because people in Japan were catching ghosts on, recording, and they stopped making it. Maybe they just stopped making it because the recorder sucks.
Right.
And that might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm just saying.
No, I agree with you for sure. Um, I want to talk about what you got coming up because we're running
Okay.
out of time, and I just and I know you're not feeling too good, so I
Oh,
want
but it's just my throat scratchy.
to. Okay, cool. Um,
Yeah, I'm not concerned about me. I feel fine. Like I said, I tested negative today. It's just my throat's a little scratchy. So,
okay,
but what I've got coming up, I've got my season 2 of Paranormal App Test coming up. That's going to be coming up. I'm going to start filming that probably within the next week. I've got, I think, 19 episodes planned for that, and typically they run about 43 to 54 minutes long. So those are my longer videos. I've got probably 29 breakdowns in the work for TikTok. So I've got a lot of those coming out. September 20th, I will be at Wilson Castle doing a dinner and investigation event. September 21st, I'm traveling to the other side of Massachusetts the very next morning to go and do the USS Salem, and I will be a special team lead investigator on that. So I got a lot going on, not to mention all the other podcasts that I'm booked for already. 2024 is going to be a busy year.
good for you. I'm proud of you. I'm happy
I'm
for you.
looking forward to it though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially the Wilson Castle and the Salem. They've been on my bucket list since I lived in Alabama. So when I got invited to come out and do these 2 events, I'm like, yeah, I'll make it. I'll make it work.
Yeah, I'm almost wanting to do the Salem. I haven't been there yet for this the con, the Salem con or whatever. That big, it's the big one, right? I haven't been there. There's also the other one, the Michigan one
Oh, so
that everybody goes to, that Michigan Paracon.
yeah, the Mission Paracon. So this actual event at the USS Salem, it's a battleship.
Yes.
So I'll be
Oh,
in.
so it's
I'll
different.
be. No, yeah, yes, not the actual Salem Paracon.
Okay,
That's what I got invited to go to last year.
gotcha.
That was my first actual public speaking event,
Oh, cool.
and so I got invited to do that. And so this is actually an overnight investigation at the USS Salem battleship.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very limited tickets. The tickets are cheap. They're $75 a person, but limited tickets because we're only bringing in 3 teams of 12 people. And those 3 teams of 12 people will be separated into 3 different teams. So team 1 and 2, I'm team 2, and we're calling ourselves the Skeptical Sailors. So
Oh, cool.
I didn't come up with a name. That's what they gave us. Apparently, me and the guy that they teamed me with, who I have not met yet, pretty much think along the same wavelength.
Oh, cool.
So I'm really curious because I've done the USS Constitution. So I'm really curious to see what the difference is in the acoustics going through the battleship, because one's made of wood, one's made of metal. So I assume the echoing is going to be a lot more, but I've been told by people that I know that are in the Navy that it's actually the opposite. You get more echo on a wooden ship than you do a metal one. So I'm really curious as to how in the hell that works.
Wow. I have yet to investigate a battleship.
I haven't either. It's going to be my first one.
That's cool. Yeah, I wanted to go to USS North Carolina. I wanted to try
Oh,
that. Definitely USS Salem, and then
the RMS Queen Mary will be awesome.
yeah, that would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool. But there's another one somewhere. Where's the USS Constitution?
Just outside of the Salem, almost in Quincy, Mass. Cambridge, I think.
All right, because I know I looked that one up, but I feel like there's one like in Philly.
Philly.
Oh wait, the Battleship New Jersey. I've been trying to get on that.
Oh, yeah.
Battleship New Jersey. It's right in, not Philly. It's in Camden, but you know
Yeah,
what I mean. But I would love to get on that.
that'd be pretty wicked.
Yeah, I hit my brother up. He's like the arms instructor for the sheriff's department, in Camden. I'm like, dude, I'm like, talk to somebody. And then I know 2 other officers for them and everything. I'm like, can somebody please just get me on there?
And I think what makes me look so forward to the Salem is, when I was down in Alabama, I did the Castillo de San Marcos in St. Augustine, Florida, which is the oldest Spanish American fort in the United States. And probably my number 2 location. I love the history of the place. The place was awesome. So I got to investigate an old Spanish fort. Now I'm going to be investigating a newer American battleship.
That's
So it's
cool.
kind of like, it's really interesting thing. I'll tell you what, the creepiest place I've ever investigated, though, was the damn wax museum.
Yeah, that would creep me out too, man.
That is difficult because anytime you turn, you think you see a figure. Well, technically you do.
Right.
That was weird. Like during the daylight, I'm all for it. At night, I will probably never go into another wax museum.
Well, it's hard, and that's my point with like the Clown Motel. Out. I'm not doing it. How do you investigate a place like that? I'm not dogging it out. I know people love it. People have gone there. But how do you investigate a place like that with all the everything because it also messes with for me, I'm afraid of clowns. It would fuck with my psyche.
Oh, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
See,
it would mess with my psyche, but like
I would take my brother there specifically because he's afraid of clowns.
yeah, no, I would be so mad at you.
Oh, he would be pissed. I took him to the circus once. And I still haven't heard the end of it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I have no interest in that kind of granted, a lot of the historical homes have furniture in it, period furniture, stuff like that. So you do, kind of get into that, in your head, I think that's a lot of times why us as investigators think in one time period when we're at places. We don't think outside the box because, you're kind of walking into that environment. Same thing with Gettysburg. A lot of people go there and they are trying to connect with soldiers. You know what I mean? Like they just automatically think soldiers, right? But I've heard and smelled horses in an area where no horses were at. I've heard little kids, you know what I mean? This and that. So like, it's more than just the 13th Alabama or the 20th Maine or, you know, the 134th New York or whatever. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
I can tell you that the Gettysburg has been on my list for quite a while now. 3 years in a row, I've got invited to go to the Gettysburg Bash, and I've had to miss it.
so bad.
I do not want to miss it this year.
You're coming?
I'm hoping, if all goes right, I'm hoping to be at the Bash this year.
Oh, awesome. That's cool. I love it. It's my favorite. It's one of my
I
favorite.
don't want. I've missed it 4 times.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. It's a really good time. It's awesome. Pam and Steve are awesome. You know, it's a great time, and it's in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Like, what else? I mean, it's like the best location on the planet.
I feel like if there's ever a haunted city in the United States besides Savannah, Georgia, it's going to be Gettysburg.
Yeah, for sure. Mark is asking, is it true that Fort Morgan is haunted?
I had heard rumors of it, but I can't say that for certain because I never got to investigate it. But rumors are rumors, and I kind of feel like if enough people are reporting it, there's got to be some substance to the claims.
Yeah, that's true. You know, well, and then you have like, what do you think about Lizzie Borden?
Oh, so I actually laid in the spot that Miss Borden's body was found when I went there, and I recreated the couch thing too because I had to. I mean, I'll probably go back. I don't think
it's okay because you're not the first person to say it.
Yeah, I don't think it's as haunted as a lot of people say it is. I also think that the new owners are kind of making a mockery of the location, and I don't respect that at all.
Yeah.
So I really don't want to spend my money supporting a business that I feel like is making a mockery out of a tragedy.
Yeah.
What happened to that family is tragic. No one knows who did it. We all can say Lizzie did it. We can all say the estranged brother-in-law did it or whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter who did it. The point is people died, and it's not okay to sit there and exploit it in the way that they do. But I can tell you, I don't think the place was as haunted. Not in my experience.
Well, a lot of people I know have gone there and have said that I don't think it's haunted, or that I people either say it's not haunted, or they say that they picked up on or they got stuff that would like none of the Bordens are there. Lizzie's not there, nobody like that, but but nobody's ever really confirmed that type of a activity there at all. No haunting.
Yeah, the only place that I can think of where an actual axe murder occurred that I would ever want to step foot in and just stay overnight one night would be Villisca.
Yeah, I heard that place is pretty.
I have heard the Villisca axe murder house is freaking wild, and I would love to go there one day.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Darren, he's not going to like what I'm going to say, but he knows how I feel. I feel like how about the Lizzie Borden house. I feel about the Amityville Horror House. I don't believe that there's anything there. I mean, that was another tragic, horrible event that occurred.
Yeah. And I think me and Darren discussed that when I was on his podcast. We hit on the Amityville house.
Yeah. I mean, I also think that is another location that is media hyped. But I don't think there's really much there besides.
Then again, why wouldn't it be media hyped? At that point in time, it was one of the most violent crimes of that time period, and probably was the most violent crime of that time period.
Yeah.
Are there some odd factors? Yeah, there's some odd factors. I mean, he's using a shotgun. No one heard a shot.
Nobody.
No one in the house heard a shot to wake up. No one outside the house heard a shot to report. Is that strange? Yes, that's absolutely strange.
Well, how do they know for sure nobody heard it and woke up?
So when they went and did interviews with the neighbors said, all of them said they did not hear a thing.
Right.
So my question
I can see how but how they know nobody in the house?
Because the body positioning.
Oh,
so okay. The way the bodies were positioned would have been in a natural form of sleep, according to the coroner. It did not look as though the bodies were shot and then placed. It looked as though they were in their natural form of sleep.
Gotcha.
So that's why the coroner came to the conclusion that no one actually woke up during the shooting. So did a phantom suppress the gunshots to where they couldn't be heard? You know what? it's not outside of the realm of plausibility, but is it possible that they just all slept through it? I mean, I guess I really can't say.
Yeah. I mean, I could see maybe I can't even see one person. I take that back. It's just it's odd. You know what I mean? How that wouldn't
Yes.
wake how that wouldn't wake somebody up.
And then DeFeo Jr., he swore for years he was possessed and he was coerced by voices and demons to do it.
You know what I think? That's schizophrenia.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think there was a mental reasoning for it. I do not believe it was ghosts that forced him to do it. I do not believe it was a demon. I believe he had some form of mental affliction from the supposed abuse that he sustained from his father. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think that I'm sorry. I do. I just and there's a reason why those people want to be left alone.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, my house isn't haunted. You get in trouble if you're out there taking pictures of the
Yep.
house.
They
They'll
do
call.
not like it. They do not like it. They even went so far as to remodel the front of it so it didn't even resemble the movie anymore.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I mean, I know exactly where the address is. I know where it is, but I would never go out there and bother those people. It's like here, there's a place called the Ocean-Born Mary House. I've stopped out there and I've taken a picture in front of it just to say I've been there. But I would never go up and knock on the door and bother the people because they don't want to be associated with anything of the nature.
Yeah.
I think they let the Halser Files do an episode there once. Because Dr. Halser actually investigated the house at one point, and I believe they let the Halser Files in there on an episode. I would think it was like season 3 or season 4 they were there. But it took cool location. It took me forever to find because if you GPS the location on your any form of smart device, it takes you to the historical society, not their house.
Oh wow.
They have it set up that way so they're not bothered.
Oh
It took
well.
me a while to find out the actual address.
Wow. That's for me. If like I know somebody wants to be left alone, I'm not going to bother nobody.
And that's why I say, I didn't bother them. I drove by, I took a picture in front of the house to say that I've been there. And
Yeah, no, that's one thing. I mean, I think people taking pictures of the house is a little extreme to be calling the cops. You know what I mean? If people are across the street taking pictures, like
I look at it this way: when you bought the house, you knew the historical significance.
yeah, as long as nobody's banging on your door or trying to get in your house or doing something like that, like I mean, just let people take pictures of the
Yeah,
house.
they're not hurting you.
Yeah, it's not
They're not.
hurting anything. When I stayed at the Hinsdale house, people would be driving down there all the time, taking
Hins,
pictures. People come down.
Hinsdale, Hinsdale and Rolling Hill is another place I'm going to try and get to this year. Those two places, and what is it? A Wildwood Sanitarium.
Great, great, great. Also, Octagon Mansion in Withville, Virginia is another great place.
I don't think I'm going to travel that far south this year. Limited budget, but
Yeah,
if Rolling Hills, it would be stupid not to go to Wildwood because it's right there around the corner.
and Hinsdale's right there too.
Yeah, I was about to say they're all three in about the same area.
I know a lot of people that do like this paranormal tour where they'll do all three locations in the span of, you know, I don't know how long they do it for, but they'll stay Hinsdale, then they go to Wildwood, and then they do Rolling Hills because they're all so close together.
I like
You
it.
know? Yeah,
That's a great idea. I do get 3 weeks of vacation every year from work. That's a great idea.
that would work. I mean, it gives you travel time. It gives you, you know what I mean, like 1 or 2 days at the places.
Well,
You know,
the travel time wouldn't be too bad for me. I'm about 6.5 hours from Rolling Hills, so
that's how far I am. Six,
oh
7. Yeah.
yeah, so travel time wouldn't be horrible. I wouldn't like it. I mean,
But
but
I
I
think
do it.
Rolling Hills is the furthest out from both of them.
Yes, Rolling
I feel
Hills
like
the
yeah, yeah. Worth every second.
see, and I've heard that, and I can't wait to visit those two places. I'm sorry if you hear the roommate yelling. I don't know.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, no. Rolling Hills was
See, and I've heard that from so many people, and I want to experience it for myself. Like, I want to be able to go and sleep in the basement.
yeah.
Like, I want to do that because I'm a freak. I'm a
No,
little
that place
weird.
was crazy, man. That
I
place was
like
crazy.
I'm one of those people that I would like to pick the scariest spot in the building, and that's where I want to be.
That is crazy.
At some point this year, I will get locked in a body freezer. That has not happened yet.
Yeah, I won't be doing that.
Oh, I want one time. I want to try it once just to say I've done it. If I don't like it, then I won't do it again. But if I do like it, then I'll be like, hey, you know what? Every place I go that's got a body freezer, it's like I've got to do it now.
Yeah, right. Um, Shout out to Ghost Trackers UK watching.
Scott, how you doing, buddy?
Um, well, I think we are coming to an end.
Yeah, we're a little over, but it's fine.
Unfortunately. Nathan, anything you want to talk
I'm
about that
here.
we haven't talked
Come
about?
back. Maybe next time my throat won't be bothering me as much, and I'll be more talkative.
You were fine. You were great. Everybody's talking about how good it was, how great the show was. So I appreciate your time. You were feeling a little under the weather.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Trust me.
And then next week, like I said, I hope everybody joins me for I have Steve coming on, talk about his book and all that good stuff. So that should be exciting. Tell everybody where they can find you.
All right, so I'm pretty much on every social media platform you can think of besides Threads. I don't know what Threads is, but apparently it's an Instagram thing. But you can find me on Twitter at Paranormal Nate. You can find me on YouTube at Static Voices. You can find me on TikTok at Static Voices. TikTok is where you're going to find a majority of my debunking content if you're into that kind of thing. You can find me on Facebook, Nathaniel Elwell. You can find me on Instagram at Nathaniel Elwell. And I do post.
If they go to your Facebook and stuff like that, can they the links to your other platforms, are they on there?
The link to my TikTok is. The link to the rest of them is not, because I've not yet figured out how to add all the links yet.
Okay.
I made a link tree and it won't let me do my link tree for some reason. So, yeah, I don't know. I tried to put my link tree link in there and it's like not accepted.
Huh.
So it was weird. But yeah, so they can find me pretty much anywhere.
Awesome. Well, Nathan, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it, and I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, it was a good convo. I knew it would be, though. We have a lot in common and, similar thoughts. So, I mean, I knew it would be a good combo, and I'm happy. And thank you, everybody, for watching and giving us your thoughts and questions. And then until next week, love y'all.
Thank you, everybody, for joining in. I appreciate it.